learn, work, thrive, lead, persist, communicate.
Portrait of a Graduate. Welcome to our podcast.
The Springfield Public Schools Portrait of a Graduate is the community's vision of essential skills and attributes that students will learn before they graduate. It is intended to empower Springfield schools and the community to reimagine teaching and learning inside and outside of schools. More than 200 people attended our community events. At least 700 educators participated in educator conversations. Around 50 student leaders participated, and about 1,400 people reviewed draft copies of the portrait and provided feedback. It took more than a year to engage those stakeholders, more than 2,000 of them, in conversations where district officials listened to their hopes and dreams for Springfield youth. The result of those conversations is the Portrait of a Graduate, a single document that lists central skills and attributes that Springfield schools, along with the community, will help students develop. The next step in our work is continued engagement with educators, students, and community members, and utilizing the portrait as a blueprint that will guide the district's strategic plan for the next 5 years, a strategic plan that defines new ways to inspire and empower our students.
Hello and welcome to another edition of POG, the podcast. I'm your host, Azel Kavan, and I'm super excited to talk about why Springfield Public Schools has been selected as the host district for the spring convening of Portrait of a Graduate. In short, it's because we're doing awesome. And as folks from across the region, from schools, administrators, and students from schools across the region converge on Springfield, in March, they are going to be visiting a select number of schools to witness firsthand the magic. And so we are fortunate enough to have 3 of those schools with us today. We are going to hear from the Springfield Conservatory of the Arts School, Dryden School, and STEM Academy. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. First, I think I'll start with Dryden, since you're the elementary school here amongst the group. We're joined by Tess Carey, who's the principal, and you have some other guests with you who will introduce in just a moment. But Tess, can you tell us about one of the POG initiatives that you have in your school that you're excited to show others about during the spring convening?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So this is our first year in the Portrait of a Graduate journey. And in alignment with the Portrait of a Graduate model, we've implemented the Leader in Me program. And the Leader in Me program takes leadership skills, it teaches leadership skills and principles in the curriculum. The goal of the program is to empower students to develop essential life skills and become leaders. The program teaches leadership qualities such as responsibility, goal setting, problem solving, teamwork, communication, through teaching 7 habits. We teach a habit each month, but we also have daily lessons that we incorporate into the school day with the Leader in Me curriculum. Like I said, habits are taught daily and they change monthly.
What are some of just give us a little sample of some of the habits. I would like to introduce Kathy Subalek, is a kindergarten teacher at Dryden who's been doing the Leader in Me with some of your students.
Yes. So habit 1 is be proactive, and it really teaches children accountability. They choose they're in charge of all their choices. So they choose their weather, meaning if they're going to have a great day. They're in charge of their learning, all of their choices. So it really they hold themselves accountable. And we're teaching that through daily lessons.
Love that. It's really a lesson in how attitude is just so important.
Mm-hmm,
and to be learning that in kindergarten is great. And we do have a student who I'm excited to hear from in just a moment, Ariana. But let's switch over and see what's happening in the middle schools. In terms of POG. So we are joined by the principal and also a couple of students from STEM Middle Academy. Roberto Ortiz is the principal there. What's happening in your school?
So at our school, we have implemented in alignment with the Portrait of a Graduate model, the student-led family conferences, where students during homeroom, they have the option to create a binder or a PowerPoint presentation that talks about their academic life and academic progress. The second step to that process is for them to actually present to their parents twice a year on how they're doing academically and some of the areas of focus for them academically. Students will reflect on things like the report cards, their MCAS scores, and other data sources like the iReady diagnostic data, which is a district
Very cool.
identified resource for the middle schools for both ELA and math, which helps students and teachers understand which skills and standards students are struggling with. This helps students understand the specific skills they need to focus on to achieve mastery of standards, specific skills they need to focus, right? To master the state standards with the goal of, scoring over 500 on the MCAS. That's the goal.
Right, yeah.
This initiative not only prepares students to speak about their academic life, but engages all families and students' academic progress. And we're a cohort 2 school and are currently working on the Thrive Portrait of a Graduate pillar.
Thrive.
Yeah, Thrive. And the goal of this pillar is that students can navigate the world around them as an empathetic and respectful adult.
That's a lesson we can all take.
Yeah, I also like to add another initiative that we started. We have 3 different ones. If you don't mind, I want to talk about.
Sure.
We've also added the data meetings during crew, where crew teachers meet with students weekly to talk about their iReady progress, talk about the MCAS scores, talk about the grades, to learn more on how to support students academically.
Well, I can't wait until we hear a little bit later from Kaylee and Isaac, especially about the student-led family conference. I remember when my son Trey, who's now a senior in college, did his student-led conference. I loved it. It's such a growth opportunity for students. And so Principal Kelly, you are over at the conservatory, Springfield Conservatory of the Arts, and you have students I believe you have students in middle and high school.
That's correct, 6 to 12.
That's correct, 6 to 12. So what's happening over there? I know you all were one of the very first schools to come on board as a cohort 1 school with Portrait of a Graduate.
That's correct. And we started with a group of teachers who were focusing on the pillars that we chose as a staff. Learn and Thrive are the 2 pillars we decided to focus on. And that committee started breaking down the indicators in each of these pillars to put them in student-friendly language. When you're a grade 6 to 12 school, you have kids on very different levels when it comes to understanding a rubric or understanding these indicators. So we made them more student-friendly so the kids could understand them better. That was our first step. And then from there, we've created habits of work rubric for us to use in our advisory classes.
More habits.
I'm sorry.
More habits. I'm hearing that come up again.
Yeah, the habits of work, what we did with the staff at the end of last year was get together and say, what are the habits that you would like our students to focus on the most? Which ones do you feel are the most important for them to work on? And they chose time management, collaboration, and perseverance. So we took those 3 and created a rubric to use in the advisory classes where the students could talk about how they're doing in all of their classes. The advisory teacher connects with the academic teachers to get feedback on whether or not the students are actually doing the way they say they are. We have like a spectrum and they put themselves on the line, like I feel I'm doing this well at this time. The feedback between the teachers and the advisory teacher is to have one-on-one meetings with the students in advisory to review their goals and review whether or not they're meeting their goals.
Very nice. I keep hearing concepts that are geared towards students, but everything is something that adults can, is something that goes into adulthood. So to be learning these habits and forming these ideas so young is just such a great head start. So Ariana, we're joined also by Ariana Leopold. She's in 5th grade over at Dryden. So Ariana, have you been taking part in any of the Leader in Me work that's going on in your school?
Yes, I have. I've been doing different types of activities in my classroom. In the morning, like we do group activities and we do solo activities. and one of them was our mission statements to um to just go on and reach our goals in life, just to see how, and we reflect on our mission statements to see how we're doing on.
So you have a personal mission statement, like an Ariana Leopold mission statement? Oh, wow. Do you have it with you? Do you know it by heart?
No, I don't.
I don't want to put you on the spot. Okay. But you do review it. It's somewhere where you take a look at it often and kind of make sure that you're staying on track with what your mission statement is.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I
So
do.
have you been at, how many years have you been at Dryden? You're in 5th grade now.
I have been in Dryden since kindergarten.
So this program was not even in place when you were in kindergarten, but it is now for Miss Sibilek's kindergarten students. Can you imagine if you had had that as a kindergartner? As a big 5th grader, what do you think this means for kids as young as kindergarten to start thinking about this stuff so young?
I feel like it would help them go to be more like focused and to be more proactive during their learning time, or and also during work time, and when they get older or during different grades.
Yeah. So do you feel like you're learning things now through the Leader in Me that you'll be able to take with you when you go to middle school next year?
Yeah, like I feel like think to be understood, and then to understand is really helping me, because like I'm better understanding other people, and other people are understanding me better than what when I was before
Wow.
the program started.
Such an important basic principle, right? How to make yourself understood and how to, and it takes discipline, I would think, to actually stop and concentrate on making sure you're understanding what somebody else is actually trying to say or their point of view.
And that is one of our habits. So it it marries well with communication, with the pillar communication.
Absolutely, which is one of my favorites.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
all great. They're all great, and you really need them all. They all come together to form a really strong foundation. So Kaylee and Isaac, let's talk about what's happening with you all. Have you done your student-led conference yet, either one of you?
Yeah, we both have.
You have. Tell me about preparing for it and then when you did it.
As I was preparing myself, I had to look at some data points like my MCAT scores, my current grades, and my iReady diagnostic scores. Looking at this information helped me learn about the area I needed to work on and improve my academic performance. Also, having a primarily crew teacher helped me identify the support that the school has placed to support me. The second step to prepare the student and family conference is to present to my parent my academic development. Presenting my academic development helped me with my public speaking.
How about you, Isaac? What was your experience for prepping like?
Prepping, I had to double check what like my grades were like, and I had to check all like my data and all that, and I had conversations with my crew teachers to like give me more of an idea, or like basically like, or what am I struggling with, like, and they gave me the feedback what I'm struggling with, and they showed me all of my data points, so I used that to prep. And I also checked back on my old progress and checked out my new progress and see what
Oh, wow. You did a comparison.
Yes.
Now, how long before you gave your student-led conference did you know you were going to do that? Was it like a whole school year? Was it 3-4 days? Was 6 months? Like, how long did you have to get all your information together, practice your speech?
I would say like
A few
a few
months.
months. Yeah.
A few months.
Yeah.
And what did it feel like once you had all that information about yourself at your fingertips? Like you really could see yourself on paper. You could see your scores, your data points. How did that impact you?
It it shocked me because like seeing how much I improved from like the past and
Mm-hmm.
where I am currently at, it really shocked me to see how much of a good process I'm going and what's going to help me in the future.
Congratulations. Haley, how did it feel to give a talk to your parents? Like, sit down. I'm the one giving the talk now.
Well, it felt really great that I can express my relationship with my teachers to my parents. So I can feel comfortable saying, oh, I need help with this and I need to stay after school for this and this class. So it helped me improve more so I can go like to a better high school and
Mm-hmm.
I can have those data points to improve my skills in any classes that I needed help in.
Right, because all the students that we have with us today are going to be transitioning next year to either middle school for Ariana or high school for Kaylee and Isaac. So what you're doing now is really important because you're preparing for a whole next chapter in your education. So I wanted to ask the principals, were there any challenges as you started to talk to your staff about, the Leader in Me, student-led conferences, all the great work going on over at the conservatory, which includes grading and things like that as well. What was some of the responses that you received from teachers? And did they help you come up with the formula you were going to use?
Yeah, we worked with our teachers from the start. Teacher buy-in on any program you're going to try is incredibly important because they have to be on board if it's going to work because they do most of the work. They're the ones in the advisory classes. They're having one-on-one meetings with students, so we needed them to be involved. So we had our staff involved from the start. We had an 8-person committee that began the work, and then that group would present to the whole staff on our Tuesday afternoon extended days. So we would get feedback from the staff throughout the whole first year, and that allowed us to focus in the direction that we've gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I really can, if I can, slightly back to the previous topic, I love hearing from the students and from the other schools that the kids are learning to own their learning.
Yeah.
The STEM kids can explain exactly where they are and what they're doing. And Ariana was explaining how much better she's getting at communicating and explaining what's going on. Someone who gets the 6th graders and gets the 9th graders, it's really exciting to hear that the other schools are doing this too, so that the kids don't come to you just being like, okay, tell me stuff. Instead, they show up and they say, hey, this is how I learn best. Can you show it to me in a video? Can you show it to me in a PowerPoint? The more the kids know how they learn, the more successful they're going to be. They advocate for themselves. So I'm really encouraged hearing that the other schools are doing similar stuff to us.
And Ryan, it's even amazing to even see it at the kindergarten level. The language
Right.
that the students are learning in the conversations that they're having regarding taking ownership and being proactive, they use those words. And it's really amazing to hear that. So I feel that the challenge and obstacles that we at Dryden have seen is that implementing the Leader in Me program, but not losing sight of the portrait of a graduate is why we have the Leader in Me. So when we started this year, we started with, hey, we're going to have this Leader in Me program. And it was all Leader in Me, Leader in Me, Leader in Me. And then all of a sudden we had to like step back and say, well, the reason we're doing Leader in Me is because they're portrait of a graduate. And so we needed to also slow down our process because we visited a school that has Leader in Me, has been implementing it probably for 5 or 6 years. And so we walked in that school and we were amazed at what we saw. It was a student-run school. So the teachers were in the background at all times. The students were bringing us around the school. They were welcoming you to their classroom, and this is what we're doing today, and you'll notice this. And so all the conversations were with students. And so when we got back, we were really so excited to begin our, Leader in Me implementation. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, but it's actually a process. So we kind of had to take a step back
and really work with our leader and me, our coach, and really say, like, at the first years, because we're in the first year, this is what you need to focus on. So I think that was really the only challenge or obstacle that we've had so far.
And your coach is it from the other school that's been doing it for those many years?
The coach is from the Leader and Me program.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And they set you up, like, we're going to go for a visit probably in another month to see another school that has the implementation. And we might, probably want to see something that is early on in implementation, so we can really like look at how we're doing compared to them.
So it really is learning from, others and other schools, other districts, seeing
Yes.
what other schools within our district are doing, because the students we're all one community.
Yeah, the school that we went to was in Manchester, New Hampshire. And some of the schools in Massachusetts they're just beginning to add this program. I know they had said there were some in Worcester already, but there was a lot that in Boston that we're going to be implementing the program. So it'd be nice to see that we're one of the first ones in Springfield, and hopefully it will catch on. And
Right.
we'll see some great results.
That is great. Principal Ortiz, to somebody who's not in education, it might not seem like such a big lift to start something like student-led conferences or anything new in a school, right? If you don't work in schools, you may not understand all the moving parts that are involved. So I guess I want to ask you, how does it feel when you go from something that is just on paper to now you have, Isaac saying it opened my eyes to my progress, and you have Kaylee saying it empowered me to explain my relationship to with my teachers, to my parents. It's happening after all that setup and all that work.
But for us, just guiding that work as leaders, making sure that, during August PD, crew teachers have the student-led family conference preparation checklist for teachers, to review, and so they know what we're going to be looking for to prepare for this big conference, halfway through the year, because
Right.
they have to present twice a year. So just being prepared, right at the beginning of the year, to get staff buy-in, like Mr. Kelly said, and just making, our staff being part of the decision-making progress, right? Bringing them in meetings, making sure that we're hearing them, right? And getting the input to try to, build this work,
So, Ariana, Kaylee, and Isaac, how does it feel to know that your schools are going to be sort of like on display? Your school is the show and tell for all the other schools in the area. This is how we do it.
It kind of feels it feels cool. And
Can you come a little closer, Ariana? We're having a hard time hearing you.
it feels good that our school is being noticed and appreciated for our program that we are doing in our school, and it feels kind of cool to be recognized as a school.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. What about for you two in middle school?
Our school being known to every other school it feels really good, because we can show how our leadership has improved and how we can show off our students and our teachers, how they can help us and go more to the future, and they can also bring more community in our STEM family.
Right, which is another important aspect of the portrait of a graduate. Well, I just want to take this time to congratulate just 3 of the schools that will be showcased during the POG Spring Convening here in Springfield. And I want to thank Springfield Conservatory of the Arts, Dryden, and STEM for being with us here today, and have a great time. Show off. I know you're going to put your best foot forward as you do every single day. So thank you for sharing your programs with us. And I'll just say, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close out?
I just want to say that this work is worth doing, and I feel it's working at STEM. When you start to see lives transform in a positive way, when kids can actually they're able to advocate for themselves, talk about their own progress, they can actually own their learning. like Mr. Kelly said.
Yeah.
And as a principal, it becomes rewarding, when you're putting all these initiatives in place, constantly monitoring to make sure the stuff is happening. It's just just exciting to do this work. I am glad that the district is doing this.
Yeah, it is exciting. Were you going to say something? Yeah.
For me, it's a case of paying attention to where the kids are going next. You're not focused on where they are right now. It's about where they're going next. So we have a 5th grader who's going to middle school. So her school's preparing her for that next level. The 8th graders have been prepared for high school, and it's our job with high school students to prepare them for college or career. So focusing on things that are going to matter for them after they leave us is really that's why it's the portrait of a graduate, not the portrait of a student. We're trying to get them to that point of graduating and moving on and being successful in their lives. So really encouraged and great to hear what all the other schools are doing.
Well said. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. And we look forward to the spring convening this March 18th through the 20th here in Springfield.
Portrait of a Graduate, the podcast, is a production of the Springfield Public Schools Office of Communication. Azel Kavan, executive producer and host. Christian Polanco, production manager. Theme music written by Marcos Carreros, music teacher at the Springfield Conservatory of the Arts, and performed by the Conservatory of the Arts School Band.
And I'm Davion Gatson Cogby.
And I'm Abriella from Glenwood.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Have a great day.